and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine. Your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and CoraleeKaren. The unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further, away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the just you and me together. It will all seem better outside, just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever. Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't relate. Do our actions even matter? Or is this a fate? At least now I'm feeling better, I know I'm here to stay. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, it will all seem better outside, just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever.
Want to say a pleasant good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh boy, I tell you, God is, intentional about what he does. Sometimes we are not, you know, seeing that intention of keeping us safe, even when we don't understand. Even when we do not understand, God keeps us safe. We do not know. We cannot tell. I want to say a pleasant good morning to each and every one this morning of joining us for a brand new start right here at Flashpoint. It is indeed a miraculous morning. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. I want to say welcome to CoraleeKaren and of course Lady Elise this morning. How are you doing?
Fantastic Friday, Mikey G, Lady Elise. It's another day. It's the end of the work week. And, God, you mentioned being intentional. It was in the interest of man that he created the Sabbath, because I can tell you, you feel you need to rest. No,
You
it's
need to
time to
get
rest.
some rest time. You need a little bit of time to just stop yourself.
Yes. You know, it's
Absolutely. You know, I, you
a,
know, you know, when I was talking about the Christian pathway earlier on this week, and persons who decided that they're going to choose this path, I have never seen more hate come towards persons than you're choosing to become something that people think you're an idiot. It's really ridiculous. You know, I see this some persons they are, you know, bad people, bad people, and they are deciding, no, I'm going to be a. I watched a guy yesterday on. He was doing a Bible study on YouTube. No, live. It was on Facebook. Facebook. I was seeing the Bible study on Facebook. That's where I saw. And you know, I knew that he eventually struggled to be at this place that he's actually um, speaking like this. Or maybe he was always this person, but I didn't see this side of him. And I stopped for a minute and I said, how are we actually judged by ourselves first and others? How are we seen in their eyes when you may have lived a riotous way, as consider the idea of the prodigal son or the prodigal daughter in this sense. Here's a woman who possibly was a prostitute in her life before, had serious situations going on, and she decides that she's coming to be a child of God. How should she be treated when she comes to God's house, um, knowing that she was a past prostitute? How do you treat that person? You know, and we think about these things. Does this thing really work though? Does it
in your
really work?
opening statement, Mikey G, I would almost hold on to what you said, that do we forgive ourselves first? You know, a lot of times it starts there. And unless we understand the power of God, I hear somebody say it like this: if we keep the sins of the individual over their heads, it's not about them. We're actually questioning the power of God to transform people. And when I heard that, I heard it almost turned on its head. It gave me a different perspective, because we can't be looking at ourselves, you know, from our own eyes. We have to see ourselves through God's eyes.
Mm.
And once we do that, then for me, the cross comes immediately thereafter. Every time I question whether I'm forgiven, it is saying to me, did the cross have the power that it has, or it should have? Am I given the full rights to the cross? And to your question, every time you think of somebody who lived a riotous life and decided that they're coming to their senses and they're returning to their first love, then we should, in like manner, see them in God's eyes. And I mean, that's theory. So that's a theory part of it. The practical part of it, Michael, is living those sentiments. Again, it starts with me. So if I'm in a space where people are either criticizing or having doubts about the ability and the conversion of an individual, I am empowered to be the representative, to be the voice that says, he who is without sin cast the first stone. And every time we have those conversations and remind ourselves who we are, then it points us back to whose we are, and it gives us clarity of sight.
But I would say to you this morning that when you come to, a lot of persons believe that when they come to become a Christian or change your lifestyle, that you're on easy street and you're all good right now. Yeah, you are. I would say, first of all, just off the bat, you are. But remember, the enemy hates you more than anybody else. You will be attacked by anybody else. You know, the worst part
And
about this is that the persons who you should be feeling more comfortable and secure with are the ones who possibly attack you the most. And that's what the troubling part is about.
yes,
But this morning, we
yes.
want to say to you, have courage, keep heart, have hope, and continue to give thanks to God. Bless His name. Of course, when we come back,
Looking to build your dream home or renovate your space? M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Welcome back to this morning's program. You're joined on the breakfast hour. It's a fantastic, fabulous Friday, TGIF. And we're happy that you are with us. We're here to have a wonderful time together. It's all Gospel Friday as well. And so, as we go through the conversations, as we share, as we have the discussions, stay tuned with us. And certainly, stay tuned. We're 24/7 and we're here to have a good breakfast with each other.
I was telling someone that that when we have the breakfast, we do buffet style.
Of course, we serve ourselves.
Share what you want, whatever you see. In the breakfast hour, there's a lot of food being placed on the table, and so you can take your plate and serve yourself. What
Yeah,
the amount first, and what you want
absolutely.
from it. So we have lots to feed you with this morning.
Exactly. And our hope is that you take a little from every single thing. Because at the end of the day, the reason why we're here is to be of service to those who took time out or take time out to share with us in this space, whether you're just getting up, whether you're on your way to work, whether for those of you who would have done the night shift, you're coming off and you're preparing to relax. We want you to know that we are very appreciative of the fact that you're joining us and certainly hope to feed you with a sumptuous breakfast. And so take as much and as often as you possibly can.
Take what you can. You know, some people. Yesterday I think we read a news. I don't remember if it was yesterday about obesity in Cayman. Was it yesterday?
Yes,
Was yesterday?
Yes.
My memory served me right.
And it would have been yesterday, sometime this week. And the fact that it is becoming an issue. A lot of persons are taking drugs designed or prescribed drugs for diabetes in an effort to curb the weight gain. And in addition to that, the side effects. So a lot of those drugs come with side effects. And I think at the end of the article, having read it full through, there was one recommendation that we do Pilates or have an exercise program to address or to treat as opposed to using drugs to do so.
So
It is of concern. It is concerning because doctors are actually framing it so that insurance can cover it within the ambit of the person having diabetes, so that
so you want to give the persons these diabetic drugs. If I'm getting you right,
yes,
because what you're saying to me this morning is very disturbing and troubling. You want to prescribe drugs to someone because you want to lose weight, so you give them the drugs that prescribed for something else because it have an effect, possibility to lose weight with it. That's what you just said about it.
correct. So one of the drug that was named is Ozempic, and so a lot of persons, and again, doctors are the ones who would have to be prescribing it. So the main purpose is losing weight. And what they're doing is because in the treatment course of diabetes, there is that weight consideration. And so what they're doing now is saying, because it has been proven to assist with those persons who are diabetic in losing weight, then the weight loss now becomes the paramount focus, and as a result, they are comforted in prescribing it to persons. Again, because it's expensive. It is expensive.
Wow.
There has to be that support from the insurance, and so it has to be linked with the diagnosis of diabetes.
We have I think justification for that would possibly be concept of Viagra. And I don't know if you're aware of the Viagra concept.
The original intent.
The original intent, and we are looking at it, and by you just saying that to me a while ago, I am hearing that in my head. Viagra was created as a heart drug for treating heart disease. So, no, that is not treating heart disease, and it is being sold as you're going to tell me the name.
An enhancer.
All right. Yeah, I can count on you to tell me. An enhancer. I mean, I would say rightly so.
Used to enhance some feelings.
Yeah, what?
Used to enhance feelings.
Enhance
A feeling. So if you have a feeling you're unable to elevate, then it is used to assist with elevating.
All right. So that you have clarified that properly. So it was found that Viagra was the drug itself when it treated the heart. It was treating heart disease with it. They found that it had a side effect. And the side effect. If I go further with this conversation,
I think we can use our imagination to finish the thought.
I never knew Crowley had that potential.
Elise, good morning to you. I see she does creep up on us. I want to go and sneak up in.
I hear you talking about elevation and all other manner of things. I'm like, what's happening here?
Here's a side effect. Here's a side effect of Viagra. And
of treating heart condition.
yeah. So when you have these drugs, they come with so many side effects, like about 100 different side effects. But of this drug, one of the side effects is it gives the member of the male organ, not the piano, the organ. Not the piano, guys, not the piano. Anyways, this morning, I want to say good morning to you. If you're just joining us, welcome to the breakfast. So, of course, we have so much to talk to you about this morning. Of course, when we come back.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4, Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
I want to say welcome back to the breakfast hour. I hope you have been enjoying the conversation thus far. It is a beautiful morning and we are happy because we are alive. The sun is shining where I'm at. And I hope that our listeners and viewers can let us know what's happening where you are. Is it a bright sunny morning or is it a cold, wet, damp morning? Wherever you find yourself or in whatever space, we can still give thanks because what? We are alive and we are well.
Absolutely. It is fantastic Friday where I am, Lady Elise, and so I'm sending it out, making it a fantastic day. Well, as you know, it's also Family Friday. I like that. Family Friday.
Yes. We gotta trust you for that one, CoraleeKaren. You just have a knack of combining those words and making them all nice.
Thank you. Family Friday. So I think we can capture that one. And, coming out of recent developments, we're seeing that the immigration laws are about to change in the Cayman Islands. And as a matter of fact, one of the first things that is being proposed is to change the bill. So it is proposed to be Caymanian Protection Act is what I believe it is. And so it is incumbent on us to look at what does that mean. We saw where one of our local lawyers would have weighed in and provided his opinion on the different elements of the changes that are proposed. For the most part, it is lengthening the time before one receives status, whether it is as a PR or as a citizen. And so it would be incumbent on us to have a discussion, again, framing it in the family sphere. What does that mean for the family? And how is it that we can be better prepared for the changes that are to come? So that's what we'll be talking about this morning.
Well,
immigration in the Cayman Islands.
Lady CoraleeKaren, you touch on a very hot topic this morning. It's happening all over the world because right now there's so many different places, and of course the US is having their own saga where that is concerned, and I think the fever is catching on to everybody else. Everybody's seeing where what people use, especially the Cayman Islands, is the United States laws to govern or to basically guide itself into some of the things that it will do. Not all, but some of the things that it will do. Like for example, some of the building codes and stuff are actually US based, where you're in construction, and some technologies of some of these things, and in other areas as well, is used to actually mirror those stuff. And the immigration law is no different. And so you have listened to all the concerns of individuals that are having immigration issues in the US and how it is going. And some people are saying it's a little draconian, it's this, it's that, whichever way it goes, but it's happening, and the concerns are there, whether for or against. There are persons in all of this that are hurting, and that's what is really happening. Now, we see this as a real situation because really and truly, these moves don't take into consideration any factors such as children, families, or any of the above. In fact, what it does, it automatically criminalizes the individuals and bring them. In fact, you are looking at people being placed. All right, so the laws are saying that once you enter the country illegally in the US, then you are deemed a criminal immediately. Doesn't matter how, it just is. And so you are justly processed and treated as any criminal who would have broken into somebody's house and murdered somebody on the street. You're no different. So you may be going to a concentration camp. Is it a concentration camp? Did I say concentration camp? You would be going to a
detention camp. Yeah.
That's what came to my mind because I remember the Holocaust with the Jews. I saw that and I said to myself, wow. But like I said, we are not trying to tell people to run their business. Their business and it's how they do it. Cayman Islands is no different. And so you must understand that each jurisdiction have their own concerns about how they want to take care of their people. Bear it in mind, in this regard, or despite the fact that they would have benefited from so many others, you would serve a dish so harsh to others that you wouldn't be served when you were in need. So you look at these things and it troubles you, it troubles me when I see some of the things that are happening to people that could have been handled a lot differently. The Cayman Islands, for example, when it makes the laws to protect Caymanian. But who are the Caymanian people? Is the question first. Because the Caymanian people is a very diverse people. They are Jamaicans, they are Cubans, they are Africans, right now they are Hondurans, they are Nicaraguans, they are Americans. These are all families that are in the Cayman Islands that boast this multifaceted and of course this diverse group of ethnicity that is celebrated within the Cayman Islands. So where do you start?
That's a question,
Mikey. The Cayman.
My question. Yeah, sorry. The question that I have is, why do I need to become an official part of the society? Why can't I just come and be allowed to, here I am, I'm contributing. Why should it be so difficult for me to be a part of a society that I deemed to have or to be in my best interest?
Well, what you're looking at, is, I would say this to you. The land of the free and the brave, or the land of the free, is only because everywhere else is not so free and chaotic. And so when you present that carrot to say that this is a better place to live, and you bought into it, I looked at some persons back in Jamaica that are actually, being told that it's better land overseas. When they came back, the land that they had that was front seat property, prime properties, were not seen as prime properties to the persons who were living on it. When they came back, persons buy up the land, same land that was not good, and build condos and hotels on the same land. If those persons developed the same property, they would have been even twice as rich and wouldn't have been somewhere else, killing yourself for a small wages and seemingly progressing and thinking and getting a dream of saying that this is better than what you actually have. So we somewhat has been disenfranchised in education, in mental, or the actual scope of what we have in our possession, as opposed to what we see in front of us. So the more the society becomes seemingly hard for the people, they seem to want to escape to get a better life. And this is what drives the other jurisdictions to impose their level of laws that would marginalize or in somewhat probably deter persons from even wanting to do it, but simply it didn't. And so here we are having this conversation. Must be had. Must be had. Yes.
Yeah, a number of changes. When I looked at it, a lot of the changes is primarily extending current period. So when it talks about, it says that for persons moving through PR and naturalization, it's now 20 years. So you would need to spend at least 20 years before you can naturalize.
Wow.
And it says leaving the path to status through marriage to occur at 7 years. And so a number of the changes is extending the time period. And when you talk about marriage, I remember we had a discussion some Fridays ago about the number of marriages. So it was recorded that the proportion of divorces have significantly reduced relative to the number of marriages. And so it was almost a third. So you had like 600 and I think 20 something marriages, and then the divorce was like 200 and so on. And so it seems to be saying that the structure of families through marriages is something that is increasing, and it may be in that vein where they're trying to curtail persons being given status through marriage and wants to be legitimate. Another thing that came up to me is the work permit element of it. So what it is saying is, if you have a permit through an employer and your desires of changing employment, you have to leave the island for 12 months before you can transition to another employer.
That one will definitely hurt, and the laws are made. All right. So, if you know what the intention of the laws were made for, then you can actually see what they're doing or they're supposed to be doing. So, the intention of the law is supposed to, in this sense, to me, would minimize the amount of persons who would come and get employed to someone and then seek to find jobs somewhere. It's like job hopping, as it were. And that would stop the job hopping completely. But that wouldn't stop the job hopping from a Caymanian to do. You know, so when you employ a Caymanian in the business, they can come this week and next week. They say, I'm not coming back. But the one who's employed under the work permit will stay. Now, what you just did was you make the work permit holder more likely to be employed than the Caymanian, because they would want a more secure person to work. Who won't go anywhere if you need to keep that. Because what people want is persons working in their businesses to make it work. It's like, I'm going to go on a vacation, and you'd want your business to continue. You don't want when you go on a vacation, somebody say, I'm not coming back to work, and just walk out on the job. And so this basically is not a bad tool to use. It's like, this is like a chain, like, you know, like enslavement. Like you put somebody in chains, right? And so you shackle them to the persons that are treating you probably very badly and horribly in a situation where you might need to escape from that. Because when you actually seek employment, all the carrots were there. The carrot was waved and it looked good. And when you come, nothing that was said is true. Or some of the things that were actually said is not how it's going. And you find yourself in a situation where it's not going to work out for you because it's mentally tearing you down. But you are held captive to this, because as slavery would shackle you one to another, you're shackled to the slave master that would now be your slave master. And this is what I see this law as. And I'm going to say it as it is. And for those who are seeing me and watching me saying it, I want to tell you that this law is exactly what you're saying it is. And I can tell you, your intention is not, you might sound like you want to do good for that, but you're creating a situation. And I don't think you're considering the persons as people when you do it. You consider them as animals or some property or something. And that's where I saw that law doing. It brings us back to the colonialism of slave masterism and stuff like that. That's what I see.
And the indentured slavery, another element of it that's
legalized. You know, again legalized.
Well, you know, as you know, have the discussion, and if you're just joining us on the breakfast hour, we are actually sharing a proposed bill that was shared in the news yesterday. We didn't get a chance to discuss it. And of course, we are tying it in to the family. So we're talking about the proposed immigration changes and how it can certainly impact the family. And as you had a discussion, or as we read the news yesterday, it caused me to think of laws in the Bible. Yes, tying it back to the Gospel Friday, or laws in the Bible that impacted families, and of course, laws of the countries relevant. And so I did a little research, CoraleeKaren.
Of course.
Of course, and what immediately came to mind, I remember the story of Jesus' birth, and of course the fact that there was a census. I believe that was census, and that's why Jesus was born in Nazareth. They were moving from one place to the other. And I also remember even Moses, the fact that he was raised in Egypt. What was happening at the time is that all the boys from a certain nation were being killed, and of course his mom would have secured him, put him in a basket, and so certainly, no matter where you are, we spoke about the US and the laws that have changed.
And that law, Lady Elise, as you move from that, don't move. I don't want you to jump away from it. The laws of being killed. This is what it says, you know. The laws of being killed was a law that was placed on the books. For all under 2 years of age must be killed. That's a law. Immediately, it's like saying, I'm signing an executive order in place to kill all 2-year-olds. And of course, this is what you're looking at. So many unjust and unjust laws, injustice with unjust laws over time. And we see it works from color coding, where a black person couldn't drink from a certain pipe, or you couldn't attend a certain university or a school, or you couldn't be in a certain, you couldn't sit down you couldn't take certain transportation as colored people, and you apply the color thing to it. But then you move the color from it, and then you apply race of people. And so now you move color and apply race or status. And then you change the thing. You move the goalposts as it continues. And we keep setting up the laws. The same law that would have caused persons to come into a country, a free country, where persons would have been living, and they could come in and basically take over the entire place, and then basically imprison those persons, in a sense. Persons who would have been in the millions and then reduced to thousands in a matter of years. You know, you have to see these things, right?
Yeah. Mikey G, I don't want to take you off course. And the number one thing I remember is the Egyptian oppression and Exodus in Exodus 1 to 14, when a new Pharaoh arose who did not know Joseph and enslaved the Israelites. And of course, the impact on the families there, families were torn apart as male children were ordered to be killed. The hardship led to suffering, but also a deepening of faith and reliance on God. That's just one of them.
Yeah, that's all that we should anchor it there. The deep reliance in your faith,
Yes.
and God. Because the truth is that we're living in a time when there are going to be challenges, and the truth is that the challenge in your natural country is causing you to seek a better life.
Asylum and better life.
Just better life,
yes. Yeah.
But irrespective of where you are, what I hear you saying is we need to anchor ourselves in God. Make sure that you carry God with you wherever you go, because He is our protection. Because even in the midst of slavery in Egypt, God was protecting His people, so much so that they didn't want to sing the Lord's song there, but there were still a group of people who kept the faith. And so much so that when Moses was commissioned to go and get God's people, that there were people, thousands, who left with him. But it's important that they were still crying out. God heard their cries and sent deliverance to them. And in like manner, whatever we're going through, the feeling of being oppressed, the feeling of separation, we have to ensure that we are guided by the hands of God. Even this law, it spoke about timelines, and it almost suggests that the institution of marriage is not going to be questioned. It's just another tool. It's not so much about the family, but if you don't properly, it's like somebody's watching you. Are you really married? And I mean, let me quickly say that there have been reasons, because a lot of people will do it for ulterior motive, not for
but hold on, Lady CoraleeKaren. This is not a new thing. But we are treating this thing as a new thing. Let's go back to the monarch and the monarchy and monarch, right? What did they do? They married into families. The sons were given to wives that are not really in love with those persons, and they married out of convenience, out of the fact that they want to secure the borders and to secure relations with these people. This is not a new thing. So if you're going to go and say, are these people really married? Yes, they are married, but they are married for the reasons for why they want to be in the marriage. It serves a purpose. Like every other stage of life and any other country, kings has ruled, and persons have done this over time. Memorial, it's not a new thing. So when you come now and you're doing stuff in this regard, you criminalize the thing. That's why I'm saying to you, laws are always made up. Now, there are going to come a time, there are going to be a set of laws that are going to be made up, that are going to say to you, God's Sabbath, as the seventh day Sabbath, is no longer to be kept. And you must not be seen doing this. You must keep the first day Sabbath, and then you shall be okay. When that time comes, will you still keep the law at that time? I'm not telling anyone to break any laws. I'm not telling anyone to be unlawful, willfully, or any otherwise. I'm saying there are laws that are so unjust that sometimes you may have to question how you're going to operate using those laws. I don't know.
And even more so, Mikey G, why we need to be assured of why we're doing things, the motive behind it. So I agree that for political reasons, marriages were organized.
Yes.
But
yes.
so what you're having now is that it's trickling down. However, that still doesn't make it right.
But look at this. Look at this. Look at Kickstart.
I will say to you, hold on, remember that what the Jews used to do is actually find a proper family. So the parents would always go and identify who the spouse of their children were. And it had to be conform to what they believe to be a righteous person. You know, when you think of Joseph's wealth and the fact that they went and looked for spouses for their children who would maintain the laws of God. So in that regard, the primary focus wasn't necessarily love of man, but love of God. And so it was a pure motive. The fact that persons have turned it into something negative does not take away from the original intent of the institution. And so what we have to do now is to not let the tarnished image become the rule. So in the point I am making is it still does not justify you having to be looking over your shoulder because you have decided that this is the family that you're going to create.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, here's where it is. Laws have been constantly changing. And you hear that this law is no longer the law that we are applying and abiding by.
Yeah. And to your point, Mikey G, that it is even more important for us to be rooted and grounded in the Word of God, because you cannot change what a government is going to implement. However, as was established in the Bible, give unto Caesar what is Caesar, but unto God what is God's. So we always have to be mindful. What is the requirement of us? What does God require of us? Because unless we can make the distinction, then we're going to be swept away by every wind of doctrine. So, yes, we are to keep the laws of the land as long as they do not contravene the laws of God.
Wow. And you know that.
But you have to know what law of God is.
Ah, there you go. Do we know what God's law for us is? You know, this is a very wide topic, Lady CoraleeKaren, this morning. It's not as simple a topic that we want. But we're looking at how we are treating each other. And is there some humanity left? Is the question. You know.
There is always humanity,
Yes.
Mikey G. And you know, as we get prepared for the news, I just want to quickly share the other three places in the Bible where political changes impacted the family. And of course, we speak about establishment of the monarchy when Israel transitioned from tribal other judges. Saul became king, and families were affected as sons were drafted into the king's army. and daughters were taken for service. And we speak about the Babylonian exile when Jerusalem was destroyed and many Israelites were exiled to Babylon. Do you remember when those boys, 3 Hebrew boys, had to leave home and they were in Babylon? And then Roman occupation and in the time of Jesus, and then the early church and persecution. The rise of Christianity led to the persecution of Jewish leaders and the Roman Empire. And the impact on the families, many families were divided as some accepted Christ while others did not. And we find that in Luke 12:51 to 53, Christians had to rely on their faith community as a new spiritual family. So wherever you find yourself this morning, we believe in the family. We believe, and we get distracted by the many things that's happening around us. And I'm happy CoraleeKaren drove home that point that you certainly put your trust in God. A lot of things happening, man. A lot of things are happening, but walk in faith and trust in God. That's what I
There
have
was
to say.
I want to bring you back to slavery for a moment.
Yes.
We're not discussing slavery today
Yes.
in every regard, but we want to talk about just remind people about what they call the Underground Railroad. And I don't know, Lady CoraleeKaren, are you aware of the concept of that?
The Underground Railroad.
Railroad, yes.
I'm not sure.
All right, so the Underground Railroad, sorry, the Underground Railroad is basically a system that was in place to rescue slaves or runaway slaves in this regard from the plantation owners. And of course, at that time, you could buy and sell people, and you were legally doing it, and they were your property. The wife, the husband, the children were all your property, and they got a chance to escape. And when they do it, there was this particular lady. I'm not recalling her name right now. It slipped me. I was trying to do that earlier. But she was instrumental in guiding the process, taking people from one part of the country and taking them through a system where they were. And so I want to tell people this. When this was happening, it was not just black people that was helping to rescue black people. There were white families who put and placed themselves in utter danger to protect and to help black people to go to safety. So there will be families, well-established families, who are actually plantation owners as well, and possible own slaves also. But then what they did was, in the pretense of owning the slave, they were owning the slave to free them. You know? And so what they did was they hide them, those runaway slaves that were being sorted, that were deemed criminals and escapees and need to be brought back to the plantation. They were being escorted through swamps and other places. And these families hide them in basements in their houses, which when they come, they will be white families, so you know that when they come, they will be upstanding citizens in the community. And so you wouldn't check them too much. And so you would just break down their doors and go in as you do the normal, regular peasants. And so, they got a chance to use those mediums to let a lot of persons escape through slavery. So that was what the Underground Railroad was all about. There were always laws in place that were so draconian and so evil and so wicked that people did break them because they had to break them for freeing themselves from it. It was shackling. Now, I'm not suggesting people to go and do any unlawful thing, but when unjust things happen, unjust things always keep happening. That's all I got to say.
I know we're on the news, and I would say that it's unfortunate because you can be a criminal because of your color. You can be a criminal because you desire to have a better life. And so, in all of it, make sure that you are guided by the hands of Almighty God, because the government can impose laws to make you a criminal, But as long as you allow God to guide your actions, then I believe you would be vindicated.
Lady
I mean,
CoraleeKaren, Lady Elise
yeah,
touched a point a while ago that says that the church community should be the family that would be
yeah,
housing it. You know what is so dangerous? That sometimes this family is the one that really attacks you instead of taking care of you. Dangerous thing to see. I want to this morning appeal to our church family. Just be that.
yes.
Embody,
The
embody,
refuge.
embody what a family is.
Yeah,
You know, when I thought about it, the last point I'm gonna make is when you talk about the 20 years on getting naturalized, you have to pay approximately over $2,000 in fees for 20 years. As if you had a work permit just the same.
well,
I will leave that on the table. I don't want to get any more into that, Lady Elise. I'll just leave that there. Of course, it's news time. I guess it's time for the news. Of course, when we come back.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Good morning, it's Friday, 7th February 2025, and these are the news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. I'm CoraleeKaren. West Bay South, now largest constituency in revised voters list. West Bay South has officially surpassed Bordentown East as the largest constituency in the Cayman Islands, according to the latest revised electors list published by the Elections Office. The constituency now boasts 1,772 registered voters, up from 1,585, marking a nearly 12% growth. Elections Supervisor Wesley Howell noted that 3 electoral districts crossed the 1,700 voter threshold, contributing to an overall increase in voter participation across all 3 islands. West Bay South is currently the largest electoral district, with over 230 new voters registered since the last general election. Of particular note, East End has seen a significant increase of over 25%, climbing from 800 to more than 1,000 voters, Howell stated. Bordentown East and Bordentown West are also among the constituencies with more than 1,700 votes. Bordentown East grew from 1,666 to 1,765, while Bordentown West increased from 1,610 to 1,744, according to the revised list. Chamber of Commerce announces election candidate forums. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce has announced a series of candidate forums leading up to the general election in April. The first forum is scheduled for March 13. According to a statement from the Chamber, these forums provide voters with an opportunity to hear directly from candidates competing for public office. The initiative, which has been in place since 1988, aims to increase voter awareness and engagement. Additionally, a new debate-style forum will be introduced this year, allowing political groups and party leaders to compare policies and leadership visions in a more interactive setting. Each forum will begin at 7 p.m. and will be hosted at the Chamber's conference room in Governors Square, with live streaming available across social media platforms. Caymanians to vote on cruise berth referendum. After prolonged discussions and uncertainty, Caymanians will finally vote in a referendum on the future of cruise shipping. The referendum bill was passed by Parliament following 2 days of intense debate. The bill, officially titled the Referendum Cruise Berthing Infrastructure, Gambling and Cannabis Bill 2024, passed its second reading with 13 votes in favor and 5 against. Government and opposition MPs, along with independent MP Chris Saunders, supported the bill, while the 5 members of the newly formed TCCP voted against it. In addition to cruise shipping, the referendum will also address the decriminalization of small amounts of cannabis and the introduction of a national lottery. During the debate, Minister of Tourism and Deputy Premier Kenneth Bryan gave an emotional speech about past mistakes, drawing supportive applause from the House floor. The bill will now proceed to the committee stage and third reading before becoming law. Government unveils proposed immigration reforms. A newly released parliamentary white paper has outlined significant immigration reforms, including changes to work permits, permanent residency applications, and Caymanian status qualifications. Under the proposed changes, work permit holders will leave Cayman for 1 year before switching employers. The minimum years required for permanent residency applications will increase from 8 to 9 years. Caymanian status eligibility will extend from 15 years to 20 years for permanent residents. Spouses of Caymanians will need to wait 13 years, up from the current 10, before applying for status. Non-residency applicants will be allowed to remain for 10 years instead of 9 before being subject to the rollover policy. Work permit holders will generally be required to leave Cayman for 12 months before changing jobs. Certain exemptions will apply, though details on those will be outlined in future regulations. Those were the news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. Continue to stay tuned and do have a fabulous Friday.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4, Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Welcome back to the fantastic Friday edition of the Breakfast Hour. We've been having a wonderful time. It is the last day of the work week, and we're here just to make sure that you are served a very delicate and delicious breakfast. Our focus on our Friday is on the family, so we're tagging it Family Friday. We would have had an extensive discussion. So if you're just joining us, feel free to go to our YouTube page and all our other platforms, so you can actually participate even after the fact. But welcome back to the Breakfast for the Friday, the family edition. Michael, any thoughts on the news? Anything?
Well, I would say Lady CoraleeKaren, so many things are happening. Cannabis legalized. Yeah.
I think you should qualify that a lot. Not even a lot. So that there's context to your excitement.
Well, alright. My asthma is acting up.
But I'm trying to note that there are persons who have been, just for the small portion that they use, and I mean, I'm not endorsing the frivolous use of drugs, but what I have seen is that hemp research has been done, and there is great and far-reaching medical
They did not say. I didn't hear this word hemp in this
Yeah, but I'm saying that there is a reason.
I heard cannabis.
All right, correct me, Mikey G. What is it that is being proposed, and the impact that it will have once it is passed?
Well, what it will stop doing is criminalize those youngsters that are going to be smoking weed, whether you like it or not. They're just going to smoke the thing. And then you don't have to give them a criminal record for it. And then they don't have to look like they are more thugs than anybody else if it's $1.99,
Mm-hmm.
You probably look stupid after a while. It's like saying, how many persons do you see want to get drunk and drink and just carry on certain nasty way? People look at it as being disgraceful, And back then people would spend lots of money. How many people want to shoot up themselves and take all sorts of drugs to impair their judgments and stuff? Lots of persons don't want to do that, but then there are lots of persons who want to do it. And then what makes it so profitable, very profitable, is because of the illegality of it. And somebody would drive across the ocean from Timbuktu to carry one bag of weed to somebody. If it values $10, nobody wants to drive all across the water. You have to go try to figure it out. So it means therefore that you take a different approach to the thing. So I see legalizing the thing while I'm not promoting the smoking of it. I'm saying this clearly. I'll go back to 1930s, I think it's 1930s, when Al Capone was the top boss, mob boss at the time, and the moonshine was the drug, which was alcohol. And they couldn't figure out how to stop the drug trade and all of that because it was such a profitable business. And what they did was they simply legalized the thing. It's $10 in the $1 drink. Anywhere you go now, you can probably get a nice bottle of beer for $2 if you want, if you so desire to have it. You don't have to kill anybody to sell it and to blackmail anybody and slaughter whole families and try to smuggle it across the ocean. You can just send a shipping company and then you can get a brokerage to do it, and it comes legally to the country and everybody benefits. You want to drink it? Go ahead and drink the poison. Give it to you. But I say, when you do these things, people are going to always. You can't legislate. You can't legislate.
So familiar. Familiar with the price of the poison.
The price of the price. Sorry. I didn't hear what you said a while
So
ago.
for a million with the price of it, and it's $1 if you get a drink or $10 for the bottle. Is that a question I should ask you?
You can ask me this question because I would be aware of this. Naturally, right?
Oh,
I would know. I would know. I would know because I have bought a few bottles myself at some point. And then I would have learned that information prior to having this conversation. So this is what you call archived information. So I would have seen the thing, get a
you're
chance.
saying that the price have gone up since then.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't bought any lately, but I probably think it might be around the same brand somewhere. But what I'm saying is Lady CoraleeKaren, is that when we think about these things, we want to think about them in abstract sometimes
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
the origin of where it starts. The making of rehabilitation centers is going to be very important for the persons who are going to be smoking the cannabis. Up from trying to put the money, spending the money, stopping the drug from coming, place that money now in rehabilitation and education of the people, and sort of like educate them in the harm of this thing even more, telling others who come up to see it. Younger generation these days not drinking and getting drunk all the time. You have a few will do it. Alcohol is a big thing, but then we now know what the dangers of it is. And we have to make sure that we educate the people. We can't stop persons from doing what they want. We cannot legislate morality. That's something that we can't. We have never been able to do it, and we can't. It's like saying to somebody, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to put laws in place that you become this person. Laws are in place to keep you in line, but you can't legislate morality to people. You have to teach that.
That's a good point, Michael, that one is educating people. You cannot tell people what is right and what is wrong, because that is left up to their understanding, their conscience. And so if you educate them
Yes.
as to the dangers of it, and that is the better way, because it is not you compelling them or forcing them to do something. And human nature is that when you force somebody to do something, it's almost as if that's the reason why they're going to do it.
Here's
But
ambition
if
for you.
you empower them to make the decision that is in their best interest, then you'll have less concerns about the repercussions. Because the truth is, one school of thought is that we're protecting you from yourself. But
Yes.
if somebody is intent on taking a course of action, if they're intentional and they're determined to do it, you're not going to be able to stop them,
Right.
because you have a choice. But why not create an environment that they understand that the path that they're going to take has serious impact on them, adverse impacts on them, and let them stop and think about, is it worth pursuing? Is it worth following my curiosity? Because most times that's what it is. Is it worth it? Let me have all the information and make an informed decision as to which route I'm going to take. Let it be on me to make the decision.
Here is where we have a strong point, Lady CoraleeKaren. We are on this program each morning to talk about one thing every time. The main focus of our conversation is God, nothing else. All the things resonate around the idea of how we and the Almighty operate. Here is where the church is integral. While legislation is not going to we're not asking to legislate morality, the church can teach how it works. And so when you see somebody who sells drugs, how dare you? I was talking about ambition. One person ascribed to be a lawmaker and one ascribed to be a lawbreaker. That's ambition right there in the making. And you are saying to me that you are, because the person chooses to not keep the law, he is wrong. Why is he wrong? He's right to do what he does because his morality tells him that what he does is correct. What is extortion? for you is legal for the other person. Here's taxation for you. One person work. You struggle all your life. Here's what it is. You struggle all your life to come up with an idea, and you starve yourself to death, sleepless night. And when you did get the idea to work, and now it start to work, and you're making money from it, here comes the government tell you have to pay taxes on the idea that they didn't support you with, and you never had a chance in hell to get it working, but you must pay the taxes of the land. Right. Now the youngster on the street realize that this level of thinking exists in another way. Now, if every business within the community pay me for protection, so we understand it. So we can see the system working, or we can legalize one thing versus the other. Now, here is the kicker for you. When you make it profitable to work and achieve, more likely persons would less likely want to get into criminal activities when there's opportunities for success. And the killer for most persons is that the morality, the person who says, I am a good person, maybe selling drugs to kids on the street and other individuals, while being the best father possible, sending the children to the best school, the best house, the best community, and is the best dad ever. Go for ice cream every Sunday, or go to the movies and the best theaters, and they go to cruises, and children are living a lavish lifestyle, flying helicopters and planes all over the world to visit different places, but the father is a drug dealer. How can you say that that child did not have the best life because the father is that criminal element that makes money, that takes care of his family, and he sees himself as a good man? Here's the church. Here's the church for you. That person, you cannot tell him about right and wrong because he knows it's right, because his family comes first, and poverty is definitely a crime. And then I'm going to happen, right? But the church must teach that there is a right and wrong way to go about doing things, and no matter how profitable it is not the correct thing to do. And it might be a hard sell, but it must be sold.
Yeah, I mean, what I hear you saying is that being your brother's keeper is more than what you put in your pocket. It's you taking care of the community. Michael, I think that is a great way to end. It's Family Friday. I'm going to ask us to dub it Family Friday, because that's really what our focus is on Friday. And we have come to the end of the program. May I ask you, Mikey G, what was your high point? What is it that you want to leave our listeners with to make sure that they have a great, a fantastic, a fabulous rest of the Friday?
Well, what I want to say to somebody is, it doesn't matter where you find yourself. We're talking about laws and breaking laws and keeping laws. I never see anything more incredible than a saving grace of Christ in somebody's life that can change the most evil and wicked and cruel and disgusting and whoring and stealing and lying and did I say lying already?
The reprobate mind.
The reprobate mind, the prostitute, the sodomites, whatever it is.
Yes.
God can change every single. The power of redemption is so great that it says it can wash away sins, it can take away incredible damage that are done to your mental and physical you, and can make you into somebody or someone that is worthy to be called righteous. Let me tell you, I leave you with this one. Stick and stay with Flashpoint. Read your Bible, look at what the Word of God said, and trust me, it'll transform you into a person that you'll probably be surprised when you look in the mirror the next time.
The power of God is such that it can change us. And
The worst.
Whenever we are in doubt, look to God, because it is He who has the authority and the power, and more importantly, it is the love that change the hardened heart. We're here at Flashpoint to elevate, to empower, to affirm, to encourage. We are here to serve you, and I hope that you had a good breakfast. I hope that you had what you wanted and that you are filled, so much so that it is sufficient to take you through the day. But guess what? Stay with us. It is Gospel Friday. So the message of inspiration, the messages of hope will continue to take you through the day. Flashpoint is here to make sure that we stay together as a family and that we learn together in the conversations that we have. Have a fabulous, fabulous Friday.
Of course, we want to say to all our communities, our Canada and the US community, I want to say welcome. I want to say good morning to you. I want to say good morning to our Caribbean people all over the Caribbean, youth Caribbean, all over the Caribbean. I want to say good morning to Pastor Marquino Ferron as well. And of course, I want to say to our Cayman and Jamaica community, have a great Friday. Remember, bring us to 10 million persons, 10 million views by subscribing, like, and share. Hit the notification bell that every single time one of these programs are uploaded or come online, we come online live at any point, you are able to get the information or get us straight. Like us on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, and of course, remember our radio continue to play all day, all Gospel Friday on www.flashpointmedia.ky. Go there, listen to our radio. It's going to be having some great conversation. Of course, we do repeat some of the broadcasts in the mornings, in the evenings, so you can get an appreciation of what took place if you missed it in the day. Of course, YouTube is there, so you can catch a part. But of course, we start at 6:30 in the morning, and we start on YouTube maybe about 7:30. So, have yourself a great day, guys. God bless. See you next week, same time, same place. And enjoy the rest of the day. All Gospel Friday.
And you're listening to Flashpoint Radio, Rise and Shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and CoraleeKaren, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further, away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all sing there outside. Just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever. Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't